Shooting for a split, the orange and blue. Look for a bounce back on a wonky Draisaitl back. We get you set for game 2 between the Oilers and the Canucks right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. What's up, everybody? Good evening. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful Friday in Edmonton. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. Matt Kassian joining us later. I'm on location, Hudson's Bourbon Street. Come on in. Some tables are reserved. Actually, quite a few now that I look around, and people are starting to pop in, get their weekend going a little bit early. I'm going to watch the game here at Hudson's Bourbon Street, and I've just been reloaded, thanks to Adam and Steve, with $20 GCs here at Hudson. So come on down and say hello. A few people have already stopped by. It's been great. And the staff, always fantastic. Today I've got Riley. She's awesome. She made fun of me. So you know she's a good one. Trev, you would love Riley. You would love Riley.
Yeah. I feel like I love most people, Tommy. So
you're very loving.
Yeah, and obviously being in the industry, I served for 7 years. So I know, we get along, most servers. I know what they've been through. I know what they go through on a day-to-day basis. So
yes.
yeah, Riley, she sounds like a hoot.
She's great. We got Kobe and Eric slanging drinks behind the bar. Kobe I grew up with, actually. Swell world. Kobe was my neighbor back in Londonderry. So fantastic crew down here at Hudson's on Bourbon Street. And then we're going to be at White Avenue on Sunday. That crew also excellent. They've got their patios open on White Ave. I drove by today when I was at Strathcona Spirits. Birdie Booze is now available. The deliveries were going out. We had a little sampling, did a couple of videos, a couple of round of clicks, as Jay Milne likes to do. For everybody over at Strathcona Spirits, and big thank you to Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. It's a delicious shot. That's the whole goal of it on a summer day. It's a great shot. You could sip it. It's 20%. And you know what? We saw Corey B posted on X, aka Twitter today. He did the cuckoo clock shot, I believe it was called, where he dropped Birdie Booze into 6 o'clock or lager, and he said it was pretty good. He just had to play with the ratios. So lots of good stuff as we get set for the summer. And you know what? Part of the summer is playoff hockey, and people are eager with anticipation. They're nervous with anticipation. Trev, I said, come on down, have a bite to eat, maybe have a beverage. And you're like, I can't do it, Tommy. I need to stay where I've been staying for the entirety of the playoffs because I'm not just a little stitious, I am superstitious, and I know you're not the only one in oil country who is like that. So do what you got to do if you're out there, but if you want to come on down, maybe change things up, come see us here at Hudson's Bourbon Street pre- and post-game show. We'll be here all night long, and come say hello. All right, GCL Diesel, by the way, presenting sponsor of the show, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Text us 780-218-9999 or get in the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube right now. Let us know how you're feeling going into this game. Also, I'll throw the question of the night out there. Trev, be ready to answer this one first. How much did the Game 1 result change your opinion of the outcome on this series? So, did you think really confidently Edmonton was going to win this series handily, or did Game 1, how they lost it, change the way you feel about this series? Do you think they're going to lose it now? You tell us, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching right now, hit us up in the nasty chat. I saw a lot of people already texting into the show. Trev, you get the question of the night first. Go for it, pal.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to shy away from it, Tommy. Yes, the Game 1 really drastically, I'd say, changed my my outlook, my perspective on this series. And I think a lot of people I think for the regular season, the Vancouver Canucks have been, they've been overshadowed, and people have been, they've not really been buying into them. Like, oh, the Canucks. But, I think it's about time. You got to be giving this Canucks team a lot of credit. They were coming in as the underdog, but man, yeah, they just outplayed the Oilers. And we talk about the rust factor and all that, but I think it just like Vancouver brought it. They really did, and that unfortunately, we talk about the playoffs and all that, and you look how Nashville handled the Vancouver Canucks, and I think that's why I'm like, wow, like there's nothing that I saw from the Canucks that I was worried. Like I thought, playoffs is a different beast. But I mean, from game one, man, like they were all over the Oilers. So my opinion has drastically changed. Unfortunately, this is going to be a lot tougher of a series than I thought, and especially now the fact that you're already down Adam Henrique, and Leon Draisaitl looks like a game time decision. But even if he is a game time decision and plays tonight, that means he's still probably not 100%, Tommy. So it's very scary. The Oilers are going to have to bring it tonight. They're going to have to set the pace. Play a very defensive, mindset game. But at the time, you got to take chances, because I feel like they were sitting back way too much in that game. You have to still come up with plays and drive offense. So yes, my opinion has changed a little bit, but it still is a 7-game series, Tommy.
Your opinion has drastically changed. I apologize. Someone was chatting with me. That's my own fault. You're all good, buddy. I caught the gist of it, Trev. I am stubborn. I am not changing my opinion. I said Edmonton in 6. I still think Edmonton in 6. Leon Draisaitl and Adam Henrique are game time decisions. I'm 100% sure Draisaitl is going to play tonight. Henrique, I'm not so sure. I don't think he's going to play. That's just my hunch. But let us know how you feel. I have not changed my opinion despite Edmonton's game 1 loss, how they lost. I still think it's the Oilers in 6. I think they regroup, bounce back, play much better. There's VR Montenegro. Hello, Mike. Oh, doesn't want one of these. Okay. Had his birthday here the other night. Brought his lovely wife, Ginger. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. 780-218-9999 and via the nasty chat. Question of the night: how much did the game 1 result change your opinion on the outcome of the series? Some people probably waffle in, some people not so sure anymore. But I will remind folks that the Oilers haven't been particularly great in game 1s of the playoffs in the past couple of decades. Included in the past couple of decades was darkness for a good 11 years. But I'm not waffling and changing my opinion. I still think Edmonton in 6. Go ahead, Trev. Were you going to say something?
Oh no, I respect your the way you're going
stubbornness.
Into this. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. You mentioned Leon Draisaitl. I said off the top in the intro, playing on a wonky back probably. Speaking of the devil, let's hear from him right now.
And what your health-wise is heading into game 2?
Feeling a little better today. Just see how I feel tonight. Just leave it at that.
So are we saying game time then? Or
I guess so, yeah. We'll leave it at that.
I guess, Lee, I had asked, you're a guy that's played through a lot, and what would it take you to keep you out of this game? Probably a lot.
A lot, yeah. But I think that's I'm speaking for anybody here. Obviously it's an important time of year, and we all want to be out there and be playing. We love being in these moments. So obviously it would take a lot, but like I said, we'll see tonight.
This is just game 2. Is there kind of a balance of I want to play right now, but I also know that there's a lot of hockey left?
Yeah, for sure. It's there's always a little bit of that. I think no matter when, really. At the end of the day, it's my body, and that's most important, right? So, just be smart about it, and take good care of it.
You do so much for this team: power play, penalty kill, face-offs, 5-on-5. Like, you play in all situations. Is this a situation where you can still play in all situations, or a situation where you may have to come back on?
I'm just gonna leave it at what I left it as. I'm not gonna get any deeper into this. We'll see how I feel tonight and make a decision then.
Our cameras and producers have been searching the tape for when you got hurt. Was it a big play, a small play, a little play? What can you tell us?
It's certainly not a big play, because otherwise anyone saw it would have seen it. But again. Man, I'm repetitive. I'll leave it. I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Leon, when you think the way your team played in that first game, how far is that from what you would characterize as your guys' best game? How much room is there?
Yeah, there's lots of room for improvement, I think. I thought we had spurts where we were okay. Maybe early on was probably our best little little time of the game, but I think we all have a lot more. We know that. They're a good team over there, of course. They make it hard on you, but there's a lot more for us as a group.
Can you pinpoint kind of why it got away from you guys in that game? I know you're playing a good team, but
I don't know if we maybe lost control of the game a little bit and just played on our heels a little bit too much. Those are moments that are obviously crucial in games like that. But I thought maybe we were just on our heels a little bit too much.
Does it kind of signify the importance of when you got a team down like this, you got to kind of put them away. You got to step on that throat. Yeah,
for sure. That's the killer instinct that we talk about, and obviously work on during the regular season. So something that we've done a pretty good job of this year for the most part, but obviously got away from us a little bit last game.
How would you say you guys are reacting to adversity as it comes at you this year? Because you've learned some lessons in years past. Does it feel a little different when this comes at you now?
Yeah, I think our group's always been really good with adversity. I think we've always been good at responding to poor efforts or maybe a game that hasn't gone our way. So obviously looking to do that tonight.
All right, that was Leon Draisaitl. Just by his demeanor and what he said, that guy's playing. That guy is playing. Bad back, slightly bad back. He's in. Adam Henrique, we'll see. He's supposed to take warm-up, and Sam Carrick will as well if Draisaitl or Henrique might not be able to go. They get Carrick in there, so we'll see what happens. Well, if both guys can't go, Carrick goes in. That is what we anticipate. All right, let's get to our Canucks reporter, Gaffar, as I should mention that portions of this hour brought to you by 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty Nielsen with Uke and McCord weekday mornings, and then tune into Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon. There he is, all the way in Vancouver, Mr. Vancouver, if I do say so myself, Gaffar. How did the city of Vancouver react to its Game 1 victory? Because I had a few, and by few, I mean a lot of people coming into the post-game show chat and absolutely needling my lovely audience.
Yeah, it was wild. I think the reaction was a lot more different in this city than it was in the city that you're currently in, Tommy. That viewing party out there kind of right by the Marriott and the Ice District area. It looked pretty wild in Edmonton. But, the Canuck faithful. I mean, that third period comeback was something you don't see often, something that I didn't expect from that team. All the goals, 5-on-5 for the Vancouver Canucks. Nurse and Cece, I mentioned vulnerable the last time I was on with you, on for 4 of the 5 goals. So there's a lot of interest here as we head into Game 2, my friend.
Yeah, are people, high stepping around there? Or are they high and mighty? What's going on? Give me the vibe around Van.
Oh, I mean, I think that there's a lot of playoff failure. There's not very much. Actually, you know what? There's no playoff success really here if you think about it. And the last time people had home playoff games, it was 2015. So, I mean, there's excitement. It's 25 degrees outside. Patios are hopping right now. Tickets are expensive, but hey, it's going to be sold out. The building should be very much so alive. I mean, the Vancouver Canucks weren't supposed to win this series. Mm-hmm. Some people had them sweeping. ESPN, like I mentioned before, 25 out of 26 panelists picking the Oilers, but the Canucks are happy being the underdog, and they're up 1-0 in this series.
Hey, good on them for exposing the opening that the Oilers left for them, and they took full advantage, and kudos where kudos is due, for sure. Absolutely. All right, what are the elements of that game? I know the comeback is obviously one of them, maybe sticking with it, but what are some of the little things, Irf, that you saw from the Canucks that you really could appreciate and know that they have to carry forward into Game 2 and beyond?
Well, I think I just mentioned it off the top, the 5-on-5 play, right? Their power play was not so good. Their PK obviously is elite, except for the first one, taking that penalty. Other than that, limit your mistakes, right? Rick Tocchet has always talked about, silly penalties. You don't need to take a too many men on the ice penalty 40 seconds into the game. That just can't happen. I can't imagine Ian Cole is going to have a game like he had last time, but I also can't imagine Connor McDavid is going to be as quiet as he was last game either. So, you know what? If you're the Vancouver Canucks, you bottle up that third period, not even the whole thing, the final 10 minutes of that third period. Yep. You know your crowd's going to be on fire. You try and weather that storm if you're the Oilers, but get pucks on Stuart Skinner. I mean, in all fairness to him, like he looked vulnerable as well. And
He
for
was.
the Vancouver Canucks, from their perspective, it's why don't we just shoot the puck more and see what happens?
And what happened was the red light behind Stuart Skinner went on. Actually, all the lights in the stanchions went on because that's kind of one of the neat things that they have at Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Gaffar with us, Canucks reporter, as we get you set for Game 2 between the Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. Edmonton looking to atone for its 5-4 loss the other night, blowing that 4-1 lead. Canucks looking to build on their lead coming back to Edmonton for the series. You talk about like 26 degrees. You talk about the patios and the sunshine. That sounds like Edmonton today. And you know what else sounds like Edmonton, Irf? The high ticket prices, because those are through the roof here too. So, a lot of the same, a lot of similarities and parallels between
that oil money out there, Tommy.
There's a lot of it, that's for sure. You spent enough time in Edmonton and Calgary. You know damn right.
Trust me, I'm aware.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Irf. Arturs Shilovs. Edmonton got to him early. They built that 4-1 lead. Some of those goals were ugly, just like some of the goals against Stuart Skinner were ugly. It looks like Shilovs again tonight, but from what you've seen of his limited body of work, was that by far his worst performance? Was the moment too big? What's your assessment of what we saw from him in Game 1?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Canucks are going to like it. I was having discussions with people during the game. I wondered if he was going to be in the net to start the third period, to be completely honest. Had the Canucks lost that game and lost it 4-1 or 4-2 or whatever it was, there would definitely be some serious questions about it, and if not, going back to Casey DeSmith. So that's an interesting one to keep looking at. But like both goalies, right? I mean, there's a lot of goals in that hockey game from both teams. Neither of them were good. So if you're the Oilers, keep shooting the puck, right? Good things are going to happen when you do that. That tends to what happened. But I think from the Canucks perspective, it's kind of let Shilovs feel the game a little bit. He ends up winning the game while letting in 4 goals. I mean, his team definitely had his back there. That's the one saving grace for him.
Yeah.
But I think that going to DeSmith after not playing for so long, even with the win, would probably shatter this kid's confidence a little bit. So I expect a better game from him. I expect a better game from Stuart Skinner. I mean, I don't know if the moment was too big, but I definitely think that there were some signs of a little bit of maybe nerves.
Irf, one thing we were talking about going into Game 1 that kind of caught my attention was your description of Dakota Joshua, because he was fantastic in Game 1 on Wednesday. But then one thing you said, and it resonated as I'm watching, I'm like, damn, he's putting a pretty good game together. And I thought he would be an X factor in Game 1. That proved to be true. You know, yay me, like pat on the back or whatever. But you mentioned that in the Nashville series, his start to the series was great, but then there was a steady decline.
Yeah.
Is this going to repeat itself? Do you think he's learned and more experienced now? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Because Elias Lindholm was great in the Nashville series, was great in Game 1. Connor Garland was quiet in the Nashville series after Game 1 as well. But you look at that line alone for Game 1 for the Canucks, I think they combined for 6 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 5 shots from Elias Lindholm, 8 hits from Dakota Joshua. He also scored. I think it's the confidence that line is playing with is key. So for them, it's, being able to play against the team's best players. They're dependent on, what's expected of you from the coach. I mean, JT Miller, that line didn't really have a good game, to be completely honest. I mean, I know Miller scored the goal, but other than that, they were pretty
I did not like
quiet.
that goal.
Yeah. So territorially, like that.
Yeah.
Territorially, that line, Lindholm, Garland, and Joshua dominated. And they have been doing that since they were reunited after Lindholm came back from the injury. So I would expect much of the same, and I think Canucks fans would hope for much of the same from that line. But again, it's the playoffs, and then teams do make adjustments. So we'll see what Chris Knobloch has in store for Vancouver.
Irf, you mentioned CC and Nurse off the top when you hopped on here. They were a combined -6. They were, let's say, passive, not good, and they do need to be better from an Oilers standpoint. But do you fully anticipate the Canucks attacking those two? Do you think that the Canucks have found something there in CC and Nurse that they can continue to expose?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, that's the part of the playoffs. I think that's the beauty of it, right? There's so many different adjustments that teams make. So it's going to be interesting for the Canucks. Like, that they're a vulnerable pairing, right? That they're on the ice for 4 out of the 5 goals at 5-on-5. and you have your advantage of having line matches, right?
Yep.
You have the last change if you're Rick Tocchet. So I expect them to try and get their best line out against those guys and try and expose a weakness there. But from the Oilers' perspective, like, you got to look at them and say, okay, well, they're gonna play better. They have to play harder. You find yourself in a 1-0 hole here in a game that you probably should have won, to be completely fair. So it's going to be some adjustments there. My biggest question, I heard you saying before we come on that Draisaitl's probably going to play this game, but what's his health like?
Backs are funny, man. If Matt Kassian and I were trying to speculate and play doctor like everybody tries to do. We're watching the film on the broadcast, and it's like, well, maybe it's spasms, because he even said it in the availability that we ran right before you hopped on. He's like, well, you wouldn't see it it would be obvious if it was a play where it definitely occurred or whatever. So that I think might back up Cass's theory that it's spasms. Since I've had back spasms, they suck and you can't control them, and they hitch, and all you can do is mitigate them as much as possible. So we'll see what Draisaitl is like health-wise, but McDavid trying to hold him off the scoreboard. I mean, everybody here thinks he's going to come back like a lion and roar. But what do you anticipate? How do they defend him?
I don't think that Connor McDavid will go another game, maybe in his career, in the playoffs without a shot on net. I'm honestly willing to place that bet. Like, they played him well, but 97 is going to get his. And I think that everyone knows that. I think it's very evident, especially if Leon can't go or isn't at 100%. You know that Connor's going to play a lot. And that's just, everyone knows that. So, like I said before we did this in game one, Tommy, it's about limiting his chances. It's about getting a body on him. It's about trying to make life miserable for a guy like Connor McDavid. But 4 or 5 shots, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And he's got to be a leader. He's got to be a guy that's out there that's, going for it, right? I mean, he had a golden opportunity. I think it was on the power play where he just missed a chance as well, or just missed a chance. So, it's going to come. I mean, McDavid is going to get his. I don't think that Edmonton fans need to worry about that. The Canucks didn't find some great serum that they all had. They didn't have Rick Tocchet's secret stuff like they did in Space Jam to shut down Connor McDavid. It was just a quiet game for him, and I expect him to come back.
Excellent Space Jam mention. And I was a huge Bill Murray fan in Space Jam, so I'm glad you brought that up. Classic movie. I haven't seen the second one. Was it any good?
I watched 5 minutes of it and I turned it off.
That bad. All right.
Terrible.
Well, then I'll just pretend that it never even was created. So that's probably the way to go. Gaffar, I will ask you this as we head into game number 2. From a Canucks standpoint, the keys to victory outside of taking away time and space from McDavid and Draisaitl.
Power play, probably 1. Discipline, 2, and better goaltending, right? If they get the Artur Shilovs that played in the Nashville series, their chances are pretty good, right? He's a guy that went in and, shut the door, especially in game 6, literally shut the door. First, you got a shutout. So I think when you look at it from a Canucks perspective, if you can do those 3 things and do them well, they have a pretty good shot of winning the game.
Last one for you, Irf. I noticed a new music video coming out of Vancouver. It was to U2's Where the Streets Have No Name, and the lyrics are quite straightforward. It basically listed off every Oilers player with the word sucks, and then added classic Oiler players and a classic Canuck, Mark Messier, sucks. What's going on? The creative juices are clearly flowing in Vancouver and the lower mainland, but is this going to be a battle between Edmonton artists, let's call them quote unquote, and Vancouver artists for how bad and how low they can go with playoff pump up songs?
Well, he didn't start the bar high at all.
No.
Right? The bar was already set pretty low from both markets. So
touche.
I think the bar can only go lower, right? Because you're not going higher. Like, some of these songs and videos out there from both cities are not very good. Let's just put it that way. I get why they're doing it. You get the clicks, you have the fun, you do all of that and whatever. But yeah, they're not very good. Creative juices definitely were not flowing for that one. Let me put it that way.
I think Joaquin Gage sent it to us today, and I was like, I need to ask Irf about this when he hops on the show today.
Oh, it's so bad that, how some things are so bad, you're like, they're kind of good? No,
yeah.
This one is not so bad that it's good. It's just bad.
You only catch lightning in a bottle every so often, like Rebecca Black did with her Smash Hit Friday.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
You know what's always good, Irf? You on the air, and especially with us, pal. That was a great tee up for tonight from a Canucks perspective. Maybe we do it again on Sunday if you're up for it.
Hey, maybe we'll never. Well, it was so nice that we did it twice, and I haven't really heard that before in my life. So maybe let's try it again on Sunday.
I think that's a good idea. Irf, great stuff. Enjoy the game, and I'll catch up with you on Sunday, pal.
All right, Tommy. Take care, buddy.
That is Irf Gaffar, Canucks reporter, being our Canucks insider for this series. He's an absolute beauty. Follow him on Twitter for all your Canucks updates. He is dialed in Vancouver. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. I will throw out the question of the night one more time because I think it's a half-decent one. And you heard YouTube Trev and his response saying he has waffled on the Oilers already just after one game. Question of the night. How much did the Game 1 result change your opinion on the outcome of the series? Text us, 780-218-9999, or get at us in the nasty chat. Trev said he has changed his mind, like I mentioned, and then I feel like things have not changed. Yeah, you blew one. 100% you blew one. The Oilers did. But doesn't mean you can't bounce back. Doesn't mean you can't recover. Doesn't mean you can't have a solid rest of the series. I point to two summers ago when the Oilers faced the Calgary Flames and they had an even crazier Game 1, a wild start to Game 2, and then the Oilers midway through that second game started to dial it in, won it, and then won the next three to win the series 4-1. I don't think this is going to be a 5-game series. I think it goes at least 6. I think it's Edmonton in 6, but let us know your thoughts. 780-218-9999. Has your opinion on this series changed after Game 1? Safety Bob getting in there says, Tommy, if Dry is still not 100%, think he will be used as a power play specialist. Yeah, I think that's something, Safety Bob, that could happen if something is tweaked, something spasms, and he's not good to go 5-on-5 and for a regular shift. Then yeah, I think they save him to be something like a power play specialist, maybe face-offs in the defensive zone, get the face-off, then get the hell off. That could be something we see if his health is not up to snuff. We'll find out. Maple Jed says they sure did find the serum. He was called Steve Kazari, looking for some return to the mean tonight. And there was a lot of chatter about Kelly Sutherland. Trev, do you want to get in on that with the Kelly Sutherland stuff? Because I did not know this. Maybe I don't follow the Canucks and its social media and X that closely, but Kelly Sutherland to the Canucks and its fan base is what Steve Kazari is to the Oilers and the orange and blue faithful. Is that the parallel? Am I reading that right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not know this either, Tommy. So, I don't know. I guess so if that's what the rumblings are. But as far as Steve Kazari goes, I mean, that guy's been, not really a fan favorite amongst the Oilers fans for quite some time. I remember it was the game that my first memory of Steve Kazari was he refed the game where Neil Yakupov eventually tied up the game with like 4 seconds, and the celebration that he did. But I just remember him like sitting. Because they called it no goal, and I remember all the fans just throwing stuff at him. And I remember a petition that got out. They were wanting him to go. So yeah, he's definitely not loved in oil country.
Nope,
and
that's for sure.
Not the best record.
Anyway, I was like, we heard the Rick Tocchet stuff, working the refs. Let's call it working the refs, talking about dives and all that. Maybe it had some impact, but I just saw this stuff about Kelly Sutherland today. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's their Steve Kazari, I guess, and we'll see how it goes. If you're wondering why we're talking about it, it's because Kelly Sutherland is reffing tonight with Eric Furlat. And Tom Chmielewski is the standby official. Your lines persons are Brandon Gerolitz and Kyle Murchison. So there you go. Interesting. The game within the game, Trev. The game within the game. All right, we're going to go to the inbox. Matt Kassian will be joining us in a couple of minutes here. Cass is already on here. So let's read a couple texts and we'll get to Cass and Game Changers. This one from Phil on a balcony in Banff. Hello, Phil. Good to hear from you. says, it wasn't so much the loss. I kind of expected that they would lose game one. It was the way they lost. You can't blow a 3-goal lead in the playoffs. Oilers in 6. That's from Phil on a balcony in Banff. All right. Somebody's saying, Box Pounder actually says, look what came up on my Google search about Draisaitl. The algorithms are working. Cheers from Box Pounder. Yep. Popular on X. The Bears interview with me. I was on with Jess Jackson. That's great. Thanks, Box Pounder. And then Jocelyn has her first bottle or bottles of Birdie Booze that she picked up today. Shot for every goal the Oilers scored tonight. Jocelyn, give me a review of the Birdie Booze. She's got 3 bottles. They look great. They taste great. If you're wondering what the berry that was used, it is artificially colored blue. Well, that's deliberate, obviously, but Hascap. And the Hascap, which is kind of like it's a huckleberry, blue huckleberry. And I've been told it's more of like a fusion between blackberry and blueberry. It's grown on a farm an hour north of Edmonton. So everything that you're getting, us with Birdie Booze, Strathcona Spirits, obviously on White Ave, or just off of White Ave, and then the Hascap berry, farmed an hour north of Edmonton, all local, and hope everybody enjoys it. It's going to be great. Let's go to Gary. Gary says, Gary here. Hello. I was wondering if I could get you to take a look at the second goal that Dallas scored last night. If you play it, stop, frame, the puck hits the crossbar, deflects down, hits the post, and bounces out. At no point does a puck cross net. We're not talking about that game, Gary. Thanks for the text, though. All right, let's get Matt Kassian on here. There he is, our game analyst. He's got his men's medium T-shirt on. Looks good. It's warm out there. And then he's got a beautiful flat brim Edmonton Sports Talk cap. We do have a new shipment that just came in, so come on down.
Get yours today.
Get yours today.
Get yours
we have
today.
many things available. What's up, Cass? How you doing? I saw you're cooking something up, or you're smoking something tonight.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people coming over tomorrow night, and so I'm gonna do a pork shoulder tomorrow. So that's gonna get that bad boy on first thing, really bright and early in the morning. So we'll get that going. Who knows? Depending if it's just like an overtime game or something, I might not go to bed. Just start smoking the pork. So I didn't want to take up too much space in my smoker, so I'm doing some pork belly burnt ends tonight that are going to go in some baked beans. So it'll be a side. I probably will eat a little bit of it. I just went out and flipped them. Actually, they needed a little flip, and boy, they're going to be. I mean, if you don't know what pork belly burnt ends are, basically it's massive hunks of bacon that have been smoked and are like crispy around the outside, and then they're deadly. So, and I'm going to coat them
slathered in spice and delicious barbecue sauce.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to do 50% barbecue sauce, 50% butter for these bad boys. So it'll be butter and barbecue sauce.
Thick.
So much fat. But so delicious. Like, you're not going to be able to eat that many of them because they're just going to be too rich, but it's going to be tasty. It's going to be tasty, Tom. So I got that going, which is nice. Got a fresh couple 6 o'clock lagers in the fridge ready to go.
Nice.
So we're in good shape over here. We're in real good shape. I mowed the lawn today. That was something. A beautiful day outside, so I'm like, I'm going to get the backyard ready, and then I'm going to settle in and watch a little bit of hockey. So I threw everything on. I had some of the watching the Florida Boston game, and then turned on the old pregame show, Tommy, to listen to you guys, and then hop on here myself. So we're in good shape.
Man, that sounds like a great Friday. I'm not going to lie to you. All you need now is to see if Edmonton can make it better on the ice in Vancouver tonight. All right, Cass, I'm going to save the question of the night till the end of Game Changers, and I'm curious to get your thoughts. I feel like, having done this show with you for, I think this is our 5th or 6th year together, I have a good idea of where you stand on the question of the night, but I want to hear it from you because that is authentic. And so we'll wait until the end of Game Changers to get to the question of the night. All right, Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Cass, number 1, quickies.
Quickies. Quickies, gotta have quickies. Quick ups from the defensemen. I think they spent too much time trying to look for even that perfect outlet pass, that perfect breakout pass, and the Oilers defensemen didn't do a great job dealing with the pressure of the Vancouver Canucks. And tonight, if they want to beat that pressure, being able to get their toes pointed up ice quickly. So for those that maybe aren't as aware or aren't used to the terminology, a quick up is when the defenseman gets the puck, basically he is turning immediately, getting his toes facing up ice and moving the puck up ice quickly back towards the other end. So it's none of this, getting it back, skating back, having to look over your shoulders, not knowing where the pressure is, just kind of throwing a puck away and hoping something happens. It's getting the puck facing up ice so you can see the play in front of you and then moving the puck quickly. I think they did not execute that well yesterday. If they want to generate more, or the game one, if they want to generate more offense today, Tom, that's something that absolutely needs to happen.
The way they were not sharp and lack of execution with their outlet passes and quote unquote quickies, but weren't that quick. I think that's kind of what lended Gager and yourself and myself yesterday on Two Guys to say, yeah, they were up 4-1, but it didn't feel like a 4-1 lead.
It wasn't
right?
a dominant.
Is that part
4-1.
of it?
Yeah,
right.
And the more people I talk to, even after the show, I was talking with my dad, Brent Chappie Kassian, who is I called him to see how the first couple days of Elks training camp was going and rookie camp to check in, and even him, he's like he's got one of our friends. I guess one of his friends, my friend now too, Jimmy B, who sometimes listens to the show. He's like, I know it was a bad game, or my dad knows it was a bad game. Even if you watch it, he's like, yeah, I had like 30 emails from Jimmy B. So Jimmy B won't even text him. It's like he'll send him like 30 different emails, all frustrated. And he's like, I knew it was bad.
Do they all start with hello, Chappie?
Yeah, basically. But the general consensus, Tom, and I agree with everybody that said this to me, is that they were up 4-1, but they didn't play. They didn't deserve to be up 4-1. They didn't deserve, and I agree with that. They did not deserve to be up 4-1 in that hockey game. It wasn't a game. It wasn't like they dominated and they played so incredibly well that it was just like, they're putting this one away. It was like, they got a couple goals. There was some bad goaltending from Shilov, and they were able to scrape together a lead and then just kind of pray to hold on to it. But they weren't that good at the start of the game. They just weren't, Tom. Full 60 minutes, it was not. They maybe had 5 minutes in that game where they really, truly played well. And the rest of it was Vancouver and Vancouver dominating.
I was very, very giving, and I said that they had a good half game. But, the more we analyze and break it down, it seems that number shrinks further and further and is reduced. So I think somebody had it at 13 minutes today, and then we're down to 5, which I can understand. They weren't particularly great, and part of it was their quickies up ice, not good. I like that cast. Toes pointed in the right direction. That's a good one. Simple, but effective. All right, that's number 1 on Game Changers with Matt Kassian tonight. Quickies, if you have any questions for Cass, tactics, system stuff, momentum, mindset, let us know, 780-218-9999, and I will send those Cass's way if he doesn't yell at you in the nasty chat, which he tends to do.
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get to number 2. Cut the cute, Cass. Cut the cute.
Cut the cute. Get it out. Get it out. Cute without the E, right? Like cute without the E. We want it gone. Way too much cute. We talked about this in the post game. We talked about it again on Two Guys and a Goalie. And I feel just like that. This is, Jimmy B throwing out a million emails to my dad, basically being like, why the H are they just throwing pucks in the middle? Why the H are they not shooting? Why are they not why are they playing on the perimeter? Like, what is going on? Why can't they, he was maybe a little bit more colorful about growing, being bold and growing something and going to the middle of the ice. But the reality is they were way too cute when they did have the puck in the offensive zone. And Vancouver did a really good job of protecting the middle of the ice, getting to the front of the net, keeping Edmonton on the outside. And Edmonton just kind of, They played right into it. They played right into it, trying to throw cute passes, trying to just be a little bit too fancy. So if Edmonton wants to win, Tom, you got to get that out, because if you play that way again, Vancouver's going to play another good game. Like, let's not expect Vancouver to take a step back. You're going to see the same Vancouver Canucks. That's Rick Tocchet hockey that he has these guys playing. You are going to get the same level of effort, the same level of intensity, and the same systematic game from the Vancouver Canucks. So if you go out and you try to play cute again, Tommy, you're in for a long, tough night. So, get rid of the cuteness, take out the E, and just, Tommy, get that bloody puck to the net.
Get the puck. They didn't do it. You said it while we were watching the third period. Totally unacceptable. It took them, 16 minutes to hit the net in the third period. You can't have that, man, especially with a goalie like Shilov's. Very limited experience at the NHL level, certainly in the playoffs. Maybe he's a bit naive or oblivious to some of it, and that was, fortuitous for him in that first round series, but he started out of the gate shaky, and you weren't getting any pucks, so cut the cute, Cass. I like that very, very much. 780-218-9999. Share your thoughts with us, or if you have any questions for Cass, myself, or YouTube, Trev, fire those our way. Quickies was number 1. Cut the cute, number 2. Number 3 on Game Changers tonight, Cass, defend inside out. What you talking about,
What
Cass?
I talking about? I'm talking about getting to the bloody middle of the ice and pushing it outside and doing a good job of that. I thought on a couple of the goals, when I went back and I rewatched the highlights and was breaking things down a little bit more, I thought the Edmonton Oilers did a fairly poor job. And that even goes to the puck behind the net goal, bouncing off the wall, where they got caught on the outside often. From a net front battle standpoint, they were, and I don't mean, because sometimes you front, and we've talked about that before. Fronting a player is where, puck's at the point, and there's a player that's in front of the net, and you stand in front of him to try to block the shot. Take away time and space from the player that's shooting. Keep the puck to the outside. So you're not trying to have always inside position. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about when the puck is in motion, when there's movement up and down the wall, and when the puck is moving to the front of the net, they got beat back to the front. They got caught too far outside, not all the way necessarily outside the dots, but too far outside where they weren't able to recover. And I think that hurt them on a couple of the different plays. And even from, watching the side of the net goal that went off of Stuart Skinner's stick, where I'm like, in a perfect world, he doesn't even have the ability to try to throw that puck in front, because someone, your defenseman or the centerman, is holding that strong side post that has a stick on it. And there's no play there at all. Like, you're forcing him behind the net or forcing him into the corner. So upon rewatch, I really don't think their defenseman and their centerman, because the centerman is just as guilty in this as the defensemen are, did a good enough job of having middle position. And we talked about how Edmonton got stuck on the outside and they were trying to be too cute with through plays. And Vancouver didn't have to worry about that because they were always on the inside of the ice. And Edmonton didn't do a great job of keeping Vancouver to the outside. I'd like to see them do a better job of it tonight. Tommy, if they do all those three things, they will win this hockey game. They will win this hockey game. If they're able to turn the puck up ice quickly, transition to that offense to put Vancouver on their heels, if they're able to cut down on the cute hope fancy plays and just play their simple hockey, get the puck to their net. If their defensemen, their centermen, and their wingers too, if they play more inside out in the defensive zone, Tommy, they win this hockey game. 100% they win this hockey game. But if they don't, could be a tough one.
Now, like everything that you've outlined tonight on Game Changers, specifically even, defending inside out, which you articulated very well as usual, them not doing those things in game one, is that rust, or would that be too easy of an excuse?
Well, it's not an excuse. I think rust certainly factors into it, but it's the playoffs. It can't be your excuse. I mean, we can look at it, and I wouldn't view it as an excuse, Tom. I'd view it as a reason. Like, rust is a reason, but it's not an excuse. You can't be like, well, yeah, we weren't going to win that one anyways because we were rusty. It's the playoffs. You don't get to say that. You have to find a way to shake off the rust. You had 3 periods to shake off the rust. You after period 1, if you had a rusty period 1, fine. Period 2, Tom, they had 4 shots. Period 3, Tom, they had 4 shots, and most of those came
late.
Last minute and a half of the hockey game. Yeah. Like you did not have a good second and a good third, so you can't look at it and say, oh, well, it was just the rust, because you had that excuse at the start of the game. I don't think that carries through forward. And again, it's a factor. It's a reason, but it's not an excuse. They don't have an excuse. They have to wear it. They have to wear it. They have to wear that game. They have to wear the way they played. And they have to go out and, if they win a hockey game tonight, you're able to kind of move on from it. Coming out of Vancouver, if you were able to win, being 1-1 in a second round series, after playing on the road, you're happy with that. You are happy with that.
Yeah.
You need to get a win in their building. You get it right away up first. You're coming back home feeling pretty good about yourself, but you're not feeling good about that first game.
Damn right they have to wear it, Cass, and it's a mess that they created and did it to themselves. So, yeah, absolutely. Do not make it happen again. 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola, Matt Kassian with you. I'm on location at Hudson's, Bourbon Street. Come on down. I've got GCs to give away. I've got decals, a.k.a. decals, some lanyards, and, yeah, it's starting to fill up in here, and trying to convince YouTube Trev to come down, but he's got his superstitions. He doesn't want to move from the studio. He's kind of set there. But I'm like, come on, man. We'll get you a bite to eat and maybe a beverage, maybe a 6 o'clock lager, which is available here at Hudson's. We're at White Avenue on Sunday. Cass, are you going to be able to make it to any of the White Ave games Sunday and Tuesday?
Not on Sunday, Mother's Day. I might get strung up by both my mother and my wife.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, but Tuesday we'll try.
All right. That'd be great. That would be awesome. And it's a quick jaunt over to the arena and then back because we'll be up in the press box for that game and actually all the home games, obviously. Okay. I said I was going to save it for the end of Game Changers and it's fitting to cap it off. Cass, it is the question of the night. I put it out to our audience. Maybe you tuned in a little bit later, didn't catch it earlier in the show. Cass, question of the night. How much did the Game 1 result change your opinion on the outcome of the series?
A little bit. It didn't completely rewrite it because, I said Oilers in 6 going into it, and we still have the potential for Oilers in 6. Now, watching that first game and watching how Vancouver played against Edmonton, I went, okay, this could be a little tighter than I thought. They played very well. They didn't have an answer in some ways. So does it push it to Oilers in 7? Potentially. So it's not like it I don't think it shifted it enough to say I think Vancouver is going to win after Game 1, but it did impact me to say, this could be tighter than a lot of people expect.
I think that's fair. I'm stubborn. I still think Edmonton in 6. They played bad, and they had the game in hand, let it slip away in Game 1. I know both teams probably want to sharpen up a bunch of stuff like you outlined in Game Changers. I still think, Cass, they have the capability to win this in 6. So I'm going to stick with it. It hasn't shifted my opinion. I've been very calm about it. Now, if they lose tonight, my thoughts change a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Of course,
I'm going to stick with my guns. I do have a question that came in from Timber Woodsman for you, Cass. It says, Cass, thoughts on the team's comments after the game, if you caught them?
Well, I mean, you're trying to still say the right things. Like, what are you going to... Tom, it's playoff hockey. They're not going to give you much. Stuart Skinner, a lot of we comments, which I think is fine and I think is fair. You win as a team, you lose as a team. It's we allowed the goal. We did this, we did that. And it is because it's not just on Stuart Skinner. Now, didn't like that last goal. Should have made a save. But there was other things that happened even right before that. So the team bears the responsibility. And I think you kind of hear that from everybody where everyone's like, yeah, we know we weren't at our best. We did some okay things. We were up 3-1 or 4-1. We let it slip away. I don't think there was anything shocking, Tom. You're not going to hear them beat themselves up too much. It's playoffs. You can't sit and have a pity party. You can't sit and worry about it. You get, regular season. I had a coach that said once, you have 2 hours to feel bad after a regular season loss. We'll give you 2 hours to feel bad, and then you have to move on. So, time you're changing in the dressing room, getting on the plane, whatever. But by the time the plane lands, you got to be past it. Playoffs, it's even less. You got to have a goldfish memory in playoffs. Like it is move on immediately. And, try to learn your lesson immediately. And to those that didn't like that, I learned my lesson from it? Because we had them on the podcast as well. And I've seen those messages come in where it's like, what do you mean you learning your lesson and this and that? It's like, well, you want guys to learn their lesson and learn them immediately. You have to learn shift to shift, moment to moment in the playoffs. So I don't know. I didn't have much of an issue. I didn't take issue. I didn't have a problem with anything I said. It's pretty, I guess, run of the mill, standard rote hockey stuff.
Yeah. There were reports that the things got heated in the locker room during the game, post game. I can tell you, I've been told by people from the team that it did get heated, but I think that's nothing really to be worried about. It should get heated after a performance like that.
Just dropped the game, and you had a lead, and you put up 4 shots in the third period. So yeah, guys were probably frustrated. Now again, you got to move on from it in like 5 minutes. So feel your frustration, get it out, and move on as a group. I mean, what, you think there's no emotion ever in playoffs? There's less emotion than in the regular season? Like, yeah, they were frustrated. We were frustrated. Everybody was frustrated. So to expect them not to be, and I don't want it, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like,
I just wanted to bounce that off you, but I know that, I was told, yes, it did get heated in there. Who was yelling at who? Pardon me. Doesn't matter. You move on, water under the bridge, play as a team, win and lose as a team, like Cass was saying, and let's see if they can regroup. Tonight, Cass, DBZ gang via the nasty chat says Oilers have to skate, play physical to draw Vancouver into penalties. Edmonton goes 1 for 1 on a too many men penalty. Yep. Outside of that, didn't draw anything.
Well, they didn't carry the puck to the middle of the ice. I don't think it's a matter of the physicality, although more physicality would be great.
Yeah,
DBZ, more physicality would be great, but I don't think it's physicality that's going to draw the penalties. What's going to draw the penalties is having the puck, getting the puck to the net, creating chaos at the net, and driving the puck to the middle, where you're forcing the Vancouver Canucks to hook, to hold, to grab, to slow you down. That's where Edmonton draws penalties. Yep. You're not going to draw penalties if you're playing on the perimeter. When 5 Vancouver Canucks are in the middle of the ice and you're standing with your butt against the dasher going like, oh, well, I'm going to try to look for a perfect play through the middle. Like, no one's going to take a penalty in that situation. So they didn't do enough, Tom, to deserve any calls. Could there have been 1 or 2? Sure. There could have been 1 or 2, but they did not force the issue, Tom, and you have to force the issue.
Cass, question came in from Safety Bob in the nasty chat as well. It says, does Perry show up tonight? Perry in the postseason, no points, -2, 6 penalty minutes in the 6 games. Not going to lie, like, I've given him the benefit of the doubt. You and I talked about it in the press box in game 2 against LA. Like, he had a bad game. He's been underwhelming this postseason. We expected more from him. Where is that? Why hasn't he been able to put it together? Why hasn't the Corey Perry that we expect to see shown up? What's your take on that?
I mean, I think he's had 2 bad games in the playoffs. One was, I think it was that game 2 against LA, where he just had a very, very poor game. And the other one would have been game 1 here against Vancouver. The other games, I thought he was fine. For Corey Perry in the playoffs, it's not, you don't need him to go out and score a lot of goals, but what you need him to do is to be a plus player. He's got to be a plus player. That line has to be a plus line. 5-on-5. Got to be a plus line. And, pace has picked up a little bit. I don't think he has lagged behind the play, but he maybe hasn't been able to impact the game as much as he would like, or maybe we would like. Will he show up? I think we're going to see a lot better game out of Corey Perry and out of that group in particular. So it does look like it's going to be Holloway, McLeod, and Perry. And I'm hoping that some of that speed with Holloway and McLeod helps Perry out a little bit tonight, and that maybe brings up his game. He can be the guy that's around the net trying to, poop disturb and do his job. And maybe those other 2 guys try to chip in from a point standpoint. I'm not concerned about the points, and we shouldn't be concerned about the points. They won a series in 5 games, Tom. So to sit and to say, well, Corey Perry has been non-existent, I don't think that's fair to Corey Perry. Not to say he had a poor game 1 along with everybody else against Vancouver. Great. To say we need more out of him tonight. Great. We do. We need more out of a lot of guys, not just Corey Perry. But I'm not concerned about his lack of point production, Tom, because they've won 4 games in the playoffs and they've lost 2. And they won 4 in the first series before the other team did. Now they're down 1 here. We can talk about it if they lose, and if they lose in ugly fashion again tonight and Corey Perry still hasn't done anything, then I think it's fair to say, hey, we need to take a look at this. But for now, I'm not too worried about it.
Understandable. Showed your work, as always. One more thing, Cass. It is 4-1 in Boston. The Panthers lead, 12 minutes left in the 3rd period. And our friend Jackie Redmond just tweeted this out, that the crowd was throwing stuff on the ice at TD Garden, chanting, "Ref, you suck." So it's not Kelly Sutherland or Steve Kazari against Edmonton or Vancouver. They're giving it to the refs in Boston. This series over there between the Panthers and the Bruins just swinging one way and then completely in the other direction. That's going to be a wild one. It kind of already has. What's your take on what you've seen so far?
Well, it's been a pretty fun series. I mean, game 1 and game 2. Game 1, Boston's dominance. Game 2, Florida's dominance, and the physicality pushback. Pasternak fighting Tkachuk was awesome. And then tonight, Florida's power play, and I haven't watched obviously since I've been on here, so I don't know what's happened since then because I haven't seen it. But so far in that game, the part that I did see was just Florida and Florida's power play looking really good. Tarasenko chipping in. And then sticking it to a Boston team that looks like they were struggling in game 3. And, is this what we hope is a blueprint for the Edmonton Oilers? I would say, yeah, you're hoping this is a blueprint for that, where you had Boston that absolutely rolled game 1, Florida that had been sitting there for a while, couldn't really get anything going. And now they're moving along doing Florida Panther things, which is a high octane offense with some good goaltending and some steady defending as well. And Boston just hasn't been able to keep pace. I will say, Tom, Boston didn't look great in the Toronto series either. I thought, especially with the amount of adversity, because I think there was for Toronto that they had to go through. I thought Boston should have been done that series earlier. It shouldn't have been a 7-game series. They should have been done that one in 5 or 6, and they weren't great. They were okay. And maybe we're just seeing a little bit of a continuation of that now that Florida got their feet underneath them.
Boston's not the same team as they were last year, and they did lose last year in the first round of Boston. If you're wondering, hey, boys, who are the refs in that game where the fans at TD Gardner throwing stuff on the ice in the third period, chanting, ref, you suck, it is Chris Rooney, Francois St. Laurent, and Dan O'Rourke is the standby official. Like Cass was alluding to, Florida's power play just shredding the Bruins, 3 for 5 tonight, and then Boston 0 for 1 on the power play that it had in the game. So there you go. There's your update from the out-of-town scoreboard. You got Cass's Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. And Cass, you're getting that pork shoulder going with the burnt ends tonight, right?
Yep. Well, the pork belly tonight.
Pork belly.
So basically, bacon. Think really thick cut bacon, like inch thick cut bacon. And then pork shoulder will be, and I had some people in the nasty chat throw it in there. Yes, it will be. I'm not wet marinating it. Don't want to wet marinate that bad boy, but there will be a dry rub on the pork shoulder. It will sit in the open air in the fridge tonight to be thrown on the smoker first thing in the morning. Get that nice bark on there, which will be good.
If I didn't just eat a quesadilla, I would be starving right now, Cass. That sounds absolutely delicious, and I know it's going to be awesome. Okay, buddy, great stuff as always. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Okie dokie.
There's Matt Kassian, our game analyst, helping us get set for the Oilers and the Canucks game number 2. Of course, Game Changers brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. If you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, contact Damon. The man is excellent. He'll have it sold quickly, or he'll find you something that fits you. If you're looking to get into the market and buy something, Damon is your guy, DamonBunting.com, or via Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. It is the Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. GCL Diesel specializes in giving your diesel engine's heart a second wind. We test and remanufacture fuel injectors, pumps, and turbos for a wide range of applications, breathing new life into vital components. I've got some text that I want to get to. We also have some audio that we want to run and some video as well for you as we get you set for tonight's action. Trev, I'm just scrolling through Twitter. I don't think the teams are on the ice yet for warm-up, but you haven't seen any updates yet.
No updates coming.
Okay.
Lineup-wise,
obviously.
Yeah, haven't seen anything yet, Tommy.
Okay. All right. We're going to keep an eye on that. And when we see something, we will pass it along your way as you continue to listen and watch, whether it's on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or EdmontonSportsTalk.com. On the audio side, big thank you as always. And then if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We're already at like 8,000, almost at like 8,100 subscribers. And we just hit 8,000 like a day or two ago, which is absolutely tremendous. Dusty Nielsen, by the way, if you're looking to flip between games and don't want to watch commercials or get bogged down by intermission stuff, you can catch Dusty on the play-by-play call of the Winterhawks Warriors WHL final tonight on TSN. That's why Dusty was on location from his hotel room on the Nielsen show this morning. Jay Milne in for Dusty on Monday with Lieutenant Eric, because that is a travel day in the WHL final. And then, like Dusty did today, he's going to try to do as many morning shows as possible, especially after Oilers game days. But Monday, he cannot. Timber Woodsman sent in a picture of a fresh stack of 6 o'clocker loggers at a Sobeys liquor store. They are still $12.99. They will be until June 30th, and they are ready to go for the weekend. Go pick those up. And we have finally gotten the Birdie Juice. Well, it's Birdie Booze. We renamed it because we had to. It is now available as well at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. $17.99 for a 375 ml bottle. A Mickey, basically. Perfect shot if you're on the golf course, if you're on a patio. It's 20% vodka base. The berry is Hascap. And we partnered up with the good folks at Strathcona Spirits, which is a distillery just off of White Ave. And the Hascap is actually farmed an hour north of Edmonton. So just a little bit of background on the Birdie Booze. And, of course, the Pelican on the label is named Smash Smash, who evidently now has his own X account. We think we know who created it. Actually, we do know who created it. Well played. Well played. All the Strathcona Spirits people absolutely loved it, especially the girl who created the label. She thought that was brilliant. Timber Woodsman also asked, flat brim hats, any new logo? It's still just the wordmark, EST, Edmonton Sports Talk wordmark, the classic hat that we had, and we just got a new shipment of them. So, Ryan, take that. Hello, Ryan. Yeah, that's for you guys, for sure. Come on down. We've got a bunch of people, some familiar faces stopping by Hudson's on Bourbon Street. I'll be here all night long. Postgame will be from here as well. They've got some specials. It is happy hour at 9 p.m., by the way. So be sure to come and take advantage of that not long after the game starts in Vancouver. Timber Woodsman says, when are we going to see Perry the Worm plays? He's been invisible. Yeah, Cass kind of hit on that a little bit. Jay says, Tommy G, Jossie is feeding me shots of the Birdie Booze already. It is delicious. We have 3 bottles, but we're going to need to grab more soon. Go Oilers, go. Jocelyn, well done. She texts in, says, love the Birdie Booze. Shot for every goal the Oilers score tonight. Chris, yeah. If Cass is taking questions about systems, what system is he going to be using with Birdie Booze on the course? Oh, good point. We'll get that to him in the post-game show. And Corey B., who created the cuckoo clock shot. Cuckoo clock bomb, I believe Corey B. called it. Drop shot, Birdie Booze into a 6 o'clocker lager, saying decals. Thank you, Corey B., for appreciating decals. All right, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. We did hear from Leon Draisaitl. By all accounts, it seems like he's going to play. I feel like listening to him, watching him, his body language, knowing him for 10 years, he's probably going to play tonight. We'll see via warm-up if we can confirm that. But, yeah, we heard from him. Let's actually go to Corey Perry, who a lot of people are wondering about. When will he show up on the scoreboard for the Oilers? Let's go to Corey Perry now from this morning.
You guys did a lot of good things in game 1, just trying to build on that, and big game 2, trying to get the split here.
Yeah, I thought, we were okay in game 1. We have things we can work on and that we talked about, and we'll put in place tonight. And that's the goal, is to come in here and get the split.
The game wasn't highly physical. Do you think you need to be more physical tonight?
Yeah, it probably will start ramp up a little bit, and it's sometimes it's just not physical, and it's just one of those games, and sometimes it is. We'll see where it goes.
You have a team here that has a lot of belief in itself when they're down in games. They've sort of comebacks have kind of become a thing for them. When you're playing against a team like that, is it that much more important not to feed that belief like you did in game 1, to kind of step on them when you have it?
Well, that's the thing. You have to step. You have to step on them, and we gave them life, and then they took advantage of it. And those things happen. You can learn from it. You're going to be judged on how you respond tonight, and we're looking forward to it.
And is that something I imagine you would talk about? Like they're not going away, kind of no matter what the score is, right? You guys sort of sense that and talk about it.
Yeah, you watched the series before when they played Nashville. They did it. They did it there, and they came in. And they did to us in game 1, and it's not a great feeling. you can use that as motivation and be ready for game 2.
What can you predict for Connor McDavid after a rare game of no shot on goal?
To be Connor McDavid.
Leon Draisaitl, it looks like he's going to go. I just thought on just having him and not having to worry about, how we're going to replace him if he wasn't able to play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Leo, he battles and he's a warrior and he'll do anything to play. So we'll see how it goes tonight and go from there.
Their third, fourth lines got some contributions last game. You know the value of sort of those guys chipping in on those different lines. You feel like you guys, got some of what you wanted to get done, and feel like you're close to breaking through and making that difference.
Well, that's you need all your lines to be successful in the playoffs, and you need depth scoring, and you need different guys to step up at different times, and in a playoff series, and to have a long run. So, it's about time we start doing that and get off of what we're doing and get going again.
Corey, in your time being an Edmonton Oiler, how do you assess your team's ability to not let the highs get too high and the lows get too low?
Well, we've talked about that quite a bit. It's a roller coaster. The emotions of playoffs. Game to game, shift to shift. It's ups and downs, and you just got to try to stay even keel. I mean, they won game 1. You have to come out and try to win game 2 and get the split. And it's the emotion of last game. We're high and then we're low, and but back to even keel, and it's a new day.
What will you be looking for off the start, in the first 10 minutes or so, to know that you guys are going?
Well, we just have to come out and play the way we know how to play, and that's taking care of the puck and using our speed and play that game down below the goal line is where we're effective.
All right, there's Corey Perry. A lot of people saying, where the heck is he been? Come on, Corey Perry, do stuff. Be the worm. You heard Cass talk about it a little bit earlier. He said, hey, you know what? He can also provide things outside of offense, but some depth scoring would be absolutely tremendous, and he's a guy that's capable of it. Maybe he gets it going tonight. But one thing I noticed about his interview, calm, cool, and collected, and he talked about the team being even-keeled and the importance of that. Well, he's a guy that when he says it, and I'm sure he says it in the room to the players, you listen to a guy like that. He's done it all. He's done it all. When he says it and puts it into action, guys follow. Even the best players in the world follow because he's a veteran that has all the experience. So, good body language there from Corey Perry. Obviously saying the right things. He's been through all of this before, and let's see if he can make it work tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. All right, Trev, I said we're going to go into the Canucks locker room. Let's do that right now. A guy who's going to be an important part of this Canucks run and has been already is JT Miller. He spoke to the media as well following practice today.
First game against Connor and his line. What was the key that you want to continue with tonight?
No turnovers and try to be above. He's one of the best players, so is the best player. So I think we understand he's gonna play a strong game today. We understand that, so we don't want to start worrying too much about him. But I just think when we limit our, don't turn the puck over, and when they have it, you got to be above him. It's not super hard, confusing for us.
For you personally, I mean, you've had some success against him now. Going back to earlier, do you feel pretty comfortable in that role? You like it?
Honestly, you never really feel comfortable when you're playing against him. But I think we've, I said I didn't want to look too much in the regular season, but I think we've had a little bit of success is just because we're sticking to the game plan. I thought last game was a good test where they're up by 3. We could have got away from the game plan a little bit to try to get more, and we stayed with it and we're patient and got paid off. So we know he's going to, he bounces back better than anybody and whatever, and we expect him to play a really strong game. So we have our hands full today, and honestly, we got to turn the page from last game.
What's the biggest challenge here mentally in game 2, and what do you guys talk about as a group within this room to be ready?
Well, I just think we expect them to be better, so let's not be surprised by that. We need to go set the tone and not have to, we're still at home here with we're up 1 in the series, and I just think that we need to set the tone and don't let them get a chance to set the tone because I think they're going to be better today.
It's a bit of a similar situation to the first series where there was a comeback win and lots of emotion in the building, and then you come into the second series knowing that they're going to play a little bit differently. How do you take lessons from that first series and apply them to tonight?
Yeah, just kind of everything I just said in a sense of we learn from that. Like, don't let them come out and push. I thought our second game of the series, last series, we actually probably played better, just didn't really get rewarded. So you got to have short-term memory in these situations. Like, enjoy the win, but at the same time, we have things we can even be better on as a team. It wasn't perfect, and don't wait for them to set the tone of the game. We're going to have the emotion of the fans, and it's we have a chance to go set the tone and make it hard on them.
There's JT Miller, did pick up a goal in that comeback victory against the Oilers, and yeah, he just said it. They did have success against McDavid in the regular season. They had success against him on Wednesday, that's for sure, and looking to continue that. Play above him, as they like to say, be defensively sound with McDavid, but the guy is so damn fast and shifty that it's easy in theory, but in practice, it can be a little bit tough for opposition teams, and we've seen that throughout the course of Connor McDavid's career. But honesty from JT Miller, and we'll see how the Canucks try to keep McDavid in check. All right, 780-218-9999. Keep those texts coming in as we continue to roll on here on the Oil Stream pregame show, live on location at Hudson's Bourbon Street. It is getting full in here. You can hear the music going. They're getting everybody pumped up. You got drink specials tonight. Happy hour is from 9 to close. $5 lift tickets. Those are shots. And then if you want a steak sandwich, $18.99 tonight until, that was earlier in the day. All right, I'm just reading off the board out front. But, yeah, happy hour is at 9, so that's coming up in an hour and a little bit. It is getting full in here. Lots of Oilers jerseys, lots of orange and blue T-shirts. People here looking to start their weekend off the right way, and I can appreciate that for sure. All right, let's take a look at what we've got in the text line. The Wolf chiming in from Grand Cache saying, "This is the entire inside of the place I'm at. It's got character, like Tommy G and Trev." Oh, love it, Wolf. 4-2 now. Boston scored. Thank you for the update. Displaced you, Connor. Taking a look at the
some insight on the lines tonight, Tommy.
You got some. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Jen was beating me to it in the nasty chat, so shout out Jen.
Nice.
But as per Jack Michaels on Twitter and or X, you got McDavid centering the first line with Draisaitl and Zach Hyman, so kind of interesting.
Whoa.
I brought that up on the morning show today. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. We kind of saw it, in the 2 years ago when Leon was pretty banged up. So it looks like they're going back to that. And Adam Henrique is also back in the lineup tonight. He's on the second line with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as center, Vander Kane on the right side there.
Wow.
So third line, you've got Ryan McLeod in between, and then Fogle on the left and Perry on the right. Dylan Holloway is on the fourth line with Derek Ryan and Matthias Janmark, and then defense it's Colin Bouche, Nurse and CC, and Kulak Desharnais.
Okay, so a lot to digest there. What do you think? Draisaitl and McDavid stacked up. I didn't think they were going to do that. I like the idea of McDavid, Draisaitl on their own lines, but it looks like they're not going to do that. So McDavid with Draisaitl and Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins with Henrique and Kane, McLeod between Fogle and Perry. So McLeod is getting a winger who's being elevated in Warren Fogle. Dylan Holloway goes down to the fourth line with Janmark and Ryan Janmark going to the fourth line where he should be playing right now. And that first line experiment, let's call it, blew up in their face, did not work. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the reason why they lost, but it didn't help the cause either. So there you go. That's a more apropos fitting lineup. Draisaitl with McDavid. That surprised me a little bit, but if he is that banged up and they're worried about it or doing strategy to stack them up like that, whatever works, try to get the win. That's all that matters. Let's see if Chris Knobloch and his adjustments pay off tonight and the Oilers can dictate the pace like JT Miller was saying he didn't want them to, but maybe this is a way for them to make that happen. 780-218-9999. Text us or get in via the nasty chat. We will go back inside the Oilers locker room from earlier today. We're going to go to Evander Kane. Let's hear from the Oilers winger now.
Up a little bit could make a big difference here in the second game.
Probably all areas of our game. I think we're just a little bit better individually. Collectively as a group that should be able to get the job done tonight.
Do you think there's more, physically that the group can do to try and impose yourselves on them a little bit, or what would you say about kind of the physical effort in Game 1 and its importance here?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I think we probably spent a little too much time in our own end, and that obviously takes away from the team's physicality, when you're playing defense, for the second half of the game. So obviously the more time we spend through the neutral zone on the forecheck in their end, the more physical we can be.
You guys play these guys once in the last 5 months of the season. Does it take maybe 1 or 2 games in a series, a playoff series, when you haven't seen them, to kind of really develop that angst, that hate, that dislike for each other, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've talked about that, before the series started. I don't know if they're over there ready to give us hugs, and I don't think we're ready to give them any hugs. But it's game 2. We're focused on getting a split here and going back home, and that's really our big focus.
You're a guy that does a lot of hitting. Do you trust we look at the game sheet, we see each guy had this many hits. Should we believe those stats? Are those stats accurate?
You'll have to ask the people that keep the stats. I have no idea.
You talked a lot about playing defense more than you want. How much was that about what the Canucks were doing versus what you guys weren't doing?
Give them credit. They came up with a good push, obviously, in the second half of that game. And at the same time, I don't think we were helping ourselves in some of the decisions and plays we were making. And I think we all know we can be a lot better than that, and we have been and proven that, and look to showcase that a little bit more tonight.
For you playing at home, you've been here so many times as a visitor, is there still extra motivation coming here?
No, we're just looking forward to winning game 2 and like I said, getting out of here with a split.
Vander, since you've been an Oiler, the team's had a history of losing game 1s, not the last series notwithstanding. You guys have done pretty well coming back. How have you guys been able to do that? What's the kind of the recipe for getting back here?
Well, I think just trying not to get too low after playoff losses. That's an easy thing to do, and I think we've been a group that has shown resiliency and been able to dig ourselves out of some holes here. And obviously, it's never fun losing in the postseason, especially game 1. And like I said, we have an opportunity here tonight to rebound and make good on that.
When you think about when this team is at its absolute best, playing your best hockey, how far do you think you are from that? And what's the difference?
Well, I don't think we're far away from it at all. I think we've shown in the playoffs we can be a really good team. We've had games and long stretches where we've been that team, and obviously the other night we weren't, and we look to perform that way tonight.
Okay, there's Evander Kane, 3 points this postseason in 6 games, a couple goals and an assist. -1 is Kane, and his stat line penalty minutes wise, Kane with 15 of those through the 6 games. So let's see if they can tilt the ice, get a little something out of Evander Kane. They need everybody going, man. No passengers, otherwise it's gonna be a recipe for disaster. And too many passengers the other night for sure as well. Too lackadaisical. 4-2, Florida leads Boston. 1:35 left to play in the third period. The goal that made it 4-2 to bring the Bruins a little bit closer was from Jake DeBrusk, his 5th of the playoffs. All right, let's see what's going on in the text line. Keep those coming in, 780-218-9999. Timber Woodsman says, a shot for every time Miller said the term set the tone. You must be hammered already, Timber Woodsman. Nasty chat, how you guys doing over there? Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Jeffrey says, Goyle, here's the plan. Let's watch the game, cheer them on to win and enjoy. Fergie says, Kane is very articulate. I can see him on a panel when his career ends. Yeah, Fergie, I think he's already kind of playing after when he's done playing, although he still has a couple years left at over 5 schmil per. Les says, Kane going to punch somebody tonight while smiling and say, sucks. I like that. That's kind of funny. All right, YouTube, Trev, what did we learn today? What do you think? Are you feeling better? Did Cass help reassure you? Did the Nasties help reassure you? Still worried. Are you going to come down here? Are you going to come down? Awanix here
I
now.
will be a game time decision if I make it. If I make it on my way down.
Are you going to be like Leon Draisaitl and Adam Henrique and show up tonight?
Yeah, maybe. I might. But as for, it is nice to hear, the insight that Cass provides, as well as you, right? Like, he's been in the show, he's made it. So I do take, and as should the Nasties, he's been there, he's done that. So I don't take that lightly. So it is nice to hear that, he is pretty calm about tonight's game. But I mean, I kind of said it in the post game, Tommy. Like it's not really, a do or die win, but it's certainly like the morale, the confidence of this team. If they go down 0-2, Tommy, like that, and then it is the saving grace. You're coming back to oil country, so you got that. But things I'm looking for tonight, the two biggest things is quickies, the quicks, what Maddie was referring to earlier. That's huge as well. I would like to see the Oilers be a lot more physical. You have to match the physicality that the Canucks are obviously bringing and the intensity, because they're just kind of having their way with the Oilers. But one thing, I talked about it in the first game, the Vancouver Canucks are probably one of the best teams, one of the best passing teams in the whole NHL. They can certainly whip the puck around, and you saw that. It was just so impressive to see. Sticks and lanes, Tommy. We talk about it, sticks and lanes. Get those sticks and lanes. You got to be clogging up all the zones, but be effective with your sticks, because that nullifies, so many cross crease, and that's what they're doing half the time. So certain things that I'll be looking at tonight, but I don't mind. I honestly, I know we talk about the center depth, and we love, it does. The Oilers, it's such a luxury to have Leon on the second line and be that center. But for a game like tonight, they have gone to this plan in previous playoffs, and it's worked. So you're going to have a huge first line. I expect them to have a monster night tonight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But here's hoping. They gotta bounce back, man. They have to.
Simple as that. Well said, Trev. If you didn't catch it, here are the starting lineups tonight for the Oilers and the Canucks. This is coming from Jack Michaels a few minutes ago when the team hit the ice for warm-up. McDavid with Draisaitl and Hyman. So Draisaitl looks like he is good to go. Here's where the surprise is. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Evander Kane on the right and Adam Henrique on the left. Henrique limited in what he was doing on the ice the last couple of days. Did take the morning skate today, which was supposed to be optional. Draisaitl did not take it. Henrique looks like he will play. McLeod between Fogle and Perry. Ryan with Holloway and Janmark. Both Holloway and Janmark pushed back down to the fourth line. On defense, no changes. Ekholm with Bouchard. Nurse with CC. Kulak with Desharnais. And then as for the Vancouver Canucks, they're going to stick with the same lines that got the job done in Game 1. That is JT Miller with Pius Suter and Brock Besser. That is Elias Pettersson with Nils Höglander and Ilya Mikheyev. Elias Lindholm centering Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland. That line had a big game on Wednesday. Teddy Bluger centers the fourth line with Phil DiGiuseppe and Sam Lafferty on his flanks. On defense for the Vancouver Canucks, Quinn Hughes paired up with Philip Hronik, Carson Soucy with Tyler Myers, Nikita Zadorov with Ian Cole, no Thatcher Demko, Noah Juleson, Mark Friedman, or Niels Aumann. In net tonight for the Oilers, no surprise, 25-year-old Stu Skinner, 4-2 record this postseason, 301 goals against average, .893 save percentage, 1 shutout in the 6 games he has played. Including this postseason, Skinner's record all-time in the playoffs, 9-8, 343 goals against average, .887 save percentage, and the 1 shutout in 18 career playoff appearances. And at the other end of the rink, it is Arturs Shilovs, the 23-year-old, getting the nod again, despite a bit of a shaky start in Game 1. Shilovs, 3-1 record this postseason, 228 goals against average, .908 save percentage, 1 shutout in 4 playoff games. Obviously, 1-0 against Edmonton, 4.0 goals against average, .778 save percentage in the lone appearance versus the Oil, regular season or playoffs. Obviously, that one coming in the playoffs. All right, I had a few texts that I want to get to. We also have Chris Knobloch. We're going to go a little bit longer. I know puck drop, these starts, they're a little bit later. They say 8 o'clock, but usually it's about 8:15 to 8:20, so I think we have a little bit of extra time. I'm watching the ridiculous Gene Principe commercial where he's dancing and daydreaming, and there he is in his suit looking normal and dapper as always. Gino and Dan Murphy working the game for Sportsnet, two of the best and absolutely fantastic people as well. Murph will be in town. He was texting me earlier. We'll link up with him tomorrow night after the Birdie Booze launch party at Birch and Bear on Jasper Avenue and 122nd Street. There's going to be 3 mini putt holes and patio. $10 get you some food and some drinks, and you get to try Birdie Booze, which is now available at Strathcona Spirits as well as Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. If you're wondering how much it is $17.99 for a Mickey. And if you got a 20 in your pocket, that 20 will get you that Mickey. It is delicious, 20%, and vodka-based. Hascap is the berry. If you're going, what the hell is Hascap, Tom? Well, it's farmed an hour north of Edmonton. It's like a blueberry-blackberry fusion, and it's a blue huckleberry is the descriptor. So all local products, all local companies, and we're super excited about our Birdie Booze, a great label created by a local artist, and a Birdie Booze shot into a 6 o'clocker lager. Corey B has called it the cuckoo clock shot, and he says it's pretty good. So I'm happy to hear that. Probably try one of those soon. Okay, let's go to Chris Knobloch. And if you've got any texts, I will read them out at the end of the show, 780-218-9999, or via the nasty chat. Question of the night one more time if you want to get in on this action. We do want to hear from you. How much did the Game 1 result change your opinion of the outcome of this series? Let us know. All right, Trev, without further ado, let's go to Chris Knobloch from earlier today.
Well, yesterday, you would have tell us if Draisaitl and Henry were playing tonight. What can you tell us?
They are a game time decision. They will be coming to the rink and probably both partaking in the warm up, and we'll make a decision then.
It's playoffs, so obviously if guys can play, they're going to. But at the same time, you don't want to risk further injury. So where Draisaitl is concerned, how much of that conversation happens about his ability to go, but also being careful.
Yeah, no, you obviously have to consider about his health, his well-being for long term. And, those decisions we make are, you have to consider his career. And then also whereabouts we are in the series. It's a game 2 opposed to a game 7. And, there's a lot of things to factor right now. But right now, we both come to the rink. We'll make a decision then.
I promised I'd keep asking you about your goaltender. Who are you starting tonight?
Stewart is our starting goalie.
Can you talk about the emotion heading into a game 2 after kind of a dramatic finish to game 1?
It doesn't matter if you lose games by 5 or 6 or overtime or with leads, whatever it is. You got to be able to, the teams that have good long playoff runs and are successful are able to put whatever happened in the past behind them and move on to the next game. Right now, we've got a very resilient group, and we've handled adversity very well throughout the season. And we're putting game 1 behind us, and we're getting ready for game 2.
Hey, Chris, just over here. So maybe just give me a thought on the Canucks are a very resilient group, as you guys are, but the importance of trying to, when you have them down, to kind of keep them down and put the foot on the throat type thing and put them away. The importance of just trying to do that as opposed to giving them a chance to get some life.
Yeah, I think it's very important. Anytime you have a lead, not opening up, giving bad passes, feeding their transition, certainly not giving them odd man rushes. Power plays are very important, especially that's obviously an excellent opportunity for a team to get in the back in it. I think our discipline's been pretty good through the playoffs. And I guess the other thing would be the mentality of the attack mentality of still pushing and spending time in the offensive zone and not sitting back, and you still want to have a strong forecheck.
I like that right at the end there, what Chris Knobloch said, have an attack mentality, get going on the forecheck. Those are important things. Oilers kind of let off the gas, certainly. In game one, we'll see if they can get back to doing it and sticking with it in game number 2. All right, I've got a couple of texts to wrap things up here. I will also add that the Boston Bruins fall 6-2 to the Florida Panthers. The Panthers take a 2-1 series lead. Timber Woodsman with some great texts. The Wolf with some great texts. Ian, thank you for the update. Big Uke says, all I've got to say is please don't suck tonight. Let's go Oilers. Big Uke, it's simple. Let's see if they can get that done. And then Maple Jet says, YTT would probably stop avoiding you at the bar if you would let him fanboy just a little bit. Oh, stop it. YTT is our peer, and we love him. This text out of Calgary says, Huckleberry is perfect for Tombstone Tuesdays. I'll be your Huckleberry. How lewd. Safety Bob says, lock it in, 5-2 Oilers. And then I'm going to take a quick peek over at the nasty chat. Jeffrey says Edmonton's loss in game 1 did not change his outlook on the series at all. Chief Andy says Chris Knobloch's downfall. He sugarcoats too much. He doesn't want to give away too much. That's kind of deliberate strategy on his part. I think we've learned that for sure, Chief Andy. Dylan says every coach loves the word resilient so much. Yeah, it's an easy one. It's a crutch word, and it works. Penner's Pancake says 30 shots, Skinner 905. Oilers win. Hello, Penner's Pancakes. Easy E says we used to be way more physical in playoffs with Woodcroft. At least it seems that way. Let's see how the Oils show some grit tonight. And Vinny Vertigo says that series is more bipolar than my sister in reference to the Panthers and the Bruins. All right, Trev, final thoughts from you as we get set to wind things down and get to the game here.
Yeah, I mean, just start strong, Tommy. They got to start strong. You're going to need a full 60 from everyone. It can't just be the first line. And in times we have seen when McDavid and Draisaitl are stacked up on that first line, the lesser players, or maybe not lesser players, but the guys on the second line, third line, fourth line, they kind of just tend to be like, okay, Connor and Leon, they've got this. No, they can't go in with that mindset. You got to need every single line chipping in, Tommy. A full 60. You got to forecheck. You got to back check. And sticks and lanes. You have to have sticks and lanes. You got to play super smart with this team, and because the Vancouver Canucks, they'll capitalize on your chances if you mess up. They're such a fast team, and they're really, really smart. So I want them to play physical. They need to play physical, match the intensity, and just play smart. And just Stuart Skinner, here's hoping. He has his record has shown he has bounced back in games where he's kind of crapped the bed. So you're going to need a whole team effort, but Stuart Skinner, he's obviously got to play a lot better tonight. So that's all I got. Here's hoping it's a fun game, maybe a few goals, but I don't know. I'm getting nervous, Tommy. I'm getting real nervous right now.
Good butterflies, good nerves. They go a long way. That's a good edge to have. Draisaitl in, Henrique in, Stuart Skinner, bounce back game. Let's see what happens. Oilers, Canucks, game number 2. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Big thank you to everyone who watched and listened. We appreciate you. For Matt Kassian and YouTube, Trev, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy game number 2 and be sure to tune in to the GCL Diesel post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Ciao for now.